welcome back to another episode. Hey, we switched sides.
Did we?
Oh, crap.
No, I was over there.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, I was always looking that way.
We have two.
It's like when you hop in bed, with your wife, and she switches to the other side, and you're like, no, we've got this side and this side.
So left and right socks feel different.
Yeah.
I think what you were about to say was welcome back to another
another Sledder Cast podcast. We're still live here at Heydays. We got the boys. We got Duncan's crew here now. I'm getting tag teamed right now.
Yeah.
What it seems like.
Outnumbering the DV and Ink squad at the moment.
That's very true. We've got a cool episode to fire off here. We're going to get to learn a little bit more about FXR, the brand, the origin story, what kind of cool stuff you guys got in the works and where you're going in the future. I know Milt was here. You guys had your big 30-year. We'll get into that. But when we start off, why don't you two, so these guys, they've heard enough about us over the last couple of days. Who are you? What do you do at FXR?
Sure.
Go for it, Matt.
All right, so my name's Matt Hamm. I'm the snow director for FXR. I've been with FXR for 20 years, 20 out of 30.
20 out of 30.
I think if you count the hours, it's probably more like 24, 25 maybe out of 30, right? By the time we get to 40 years, I'll be on par for the whole, it's kind of my goal. But, been around with FXR for a good chunk of its history, and really in and around that 10-year mark was when things were really starting to ramp up. So I've seen 20 years of not a single, not a year that matched the last, in one way or another, just crazy growth or just keeping up with things and watching the company grow up from, it's still in a most terms would be still considered a relatively small company, but as it's growing into, a large company and global leader almost, on the snow side. But it's been amazing to be part of that, definitely.
That's rad. 20 years is a long time. That's a cool feat, especially in this industry. I think, to find someone that's stuck with one brand, one company for that long, that's pretty cool.
Career status.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to do anything else by now.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm kind of the young buck. I got brought in by Milt. I actually was with Polaris in the R&D center here in Minnesota for about 6 years.
They swiped you.
And Milt did indeed swipe and recruited. He brought me in for some of the business development stuff. And then Matt has a whole lot going on in the snow side, and it's been a passion of mine since I was way younger. So kind of got recruited and roped into all the sponsorship stuff, working with Duncan and all the boys, and we're doing some pretty cool stuff and building there. So just a little bit of jack of all trades, but happy to be with the team.
Awesome. So as far as history goes of the brand, I know there's, a handful of kind of the key players in the outerwear performance gear space in the snowmobiling community. You guys have been there, 30 years. Has all of that been in the, have you been in the snowmobile sector that whole time, or where did you guys start?
Snow was the start of everything. If you hear Milt tell his story, cross-country racer, couldn't figure out why none of the gear performed as well and looked as cool as all the motocross gear, in the 80s and 90s, right? And it's always been heavy moto influence in everything we do, and the style, of course, and performance. And so, just leading in from that side, I don't know.
Awesome.
Some of the original gear was pretty wild looking, right? When you look back at it, but at the time, Milt created stuff that absolutely worked for what he was doing, and that was racing sleds. Yep. And actually, in the booth this year, we've got a replica from Levi LaValle, who's been on our team for a long time, and it looks just like Milt's original race sled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they showed Milt, and they got this cool poster of Milt in those times wearing the gear. And Milt's speech last night for the 30th year anniversary was awesome. Just where he came from, what went down, and why.
Yeah.
Well, and I think moto gear was kind of there since the start, but definitely kind of on the side a little bit. You would say snow was heavy focus, since day one, I guess. But even in the early 2000s, already starting to have small collection in moto to go along with, just because that's what we all did. That's what he did, and it was just bikes in the summer, sleds all winter. But the snowmobile business was that opportunity and that passion to really grow it, just because the people in the gear in that space at that place and time just was a big gap there to fill, and like he jumped in, and the energy and the vision to do it, kind of just right time and just fuel the fire, right?
So we're talking a lot about Milt. Did we even like say who Milt is for those who who's this Milt guy, right?
You don't know who Milt is?
Well, I'm talking about the people out here, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, you don't know who Milt is? I mean, we all know this guy. No.
Yeah. So who's Milt?
So it's we all think of it as common, and just we're with him all the time. But like, so Milt Reimer, the owner and the founder of FXR, he's been driving force, owner, president, creative director, still, and his passion and like just leading the development of almost all divisions. He's starting to back away a little bit from some other sides of running the company. He's done that for an awful long time, but like his vision for the product side and the development and the graphics and the colors and the energy is like, I don't know, all time high, let's just say, right?
Yeah.
He's in his early 60s now, and he's still like probably riding moto more competitively than, let's say, even 20 years ago.
Wow.
And 40 plus is considered, getting old for moto side. And it's like, he's still fitter than most. He still can go out there and like, he'd be competitive at a, world-class events like Glen Helen World Vets or Loretta's or things like that in those higher age class. Like he's a badass, right?
Or how about the Vet Nationals in Canada last year?
Yeah.
Right.
And well, he went to the ones in Glen Helen too.
Yeah.
As an owner founder, Milt is probably one of the most involved that I know.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't see. I'm really lucky. I've gotten to go to a lot of different events with him. We were at Ironman, Walton, all different snow rides, right? Like the guy is just super passionate, one of the most driven dudes, and to Matt's point, is still completely into the design. Like he is pushing the ship, he is all for it, and it's so purpose-driven stuff. And I think that's a lot of what's fueling us to continue to push and grow.
Absolutely. Now, still founder, owner.
Yes.
So we've been talking about this last few days. Is FXR the only company out there still that is still ran held privately from the original founder owner?
We've got to be close to, if not the only, like we question even in powersports, like you go to the moto side, even there's not a lot of those core original brands that are still founder owned, right? And like, it's one of those things that we're almost fortunate or lucky to still be in that position, because it's like, we can still steer without the red tape, let's just say, or like if we want to follow the core and the values and the vision of like from day one, it's almost like still exists, and we're one of the few that we can kind of pivot and be agile that way, and like for better or worse, or just follow along and try to be true to ourselves, right? So it's pretty cool on that side.
Yeah, that's rad. So
since we're talking about Milt,
Milt,
one last plug for the guy. Let's get him. I mean, whenever people ask me about Milt or who he is, I lead with Milt is a beast. The dude is fit and will smoke you on the dirt bike track. And it is so fun to watch him when he gets spooled up, talking about anything, talking about the business, talking about FXR, where we're going, what we do. But also, like, I think him and I talk about fitness, supplements, and racing dirt bikes the most out of anything that we talk about, which is so fun, because you can tell for him, yes, business matters, but like it's life. It's the community that this has created. And he's just on this charge that like it's hard not for him to be infectious.
Yeah.
And he gets in everybody around here.
Yeah.
It's great.
So the Milt that you knew 20 years ago, do you remember that? Did he interview you?
You know what? He kind of interview, but I don't know. I think I got kind of hired along even without an interview. And it was kind of a weird deal because when I started, there was no like person in the shipping department for FXR. It was like we would gather together at like 3:00, pack the orders from the day, because the warehouse was literally the upstairs. There was like an office building and a shop on the side with an overhead door. And above in the mezzanine was the warehouse. And at like 3:00, everyone would get together. The UPS van is going to show up at like 4:30, pack the orders. And it started to, so it was like, it wasn't even really like an interview. It was like, hey, are you a kid that can like put stuff in the box and run the UPS computer? And like, I was just a motocross racer and like, go work for a place that sells the gear or whatever. But like the start of it was so crazy because there's like 6-7 people, and it got to start to be too busy that they couldn't just all get together, and like that wasn't working anymore. It's like, no, we need someone that's at least runs a computer. So that was, yeah.
So
That was
20
how it
years ago,
started.
you said there was 6, 7, 8 folks there. Fast forward to today, like what's the growth been like in I guess human capital?
I want to say a global footprint of our staff in and around 150.
Yeah,
Sound right, Tori?
that'd be my
That's
guess as
crazy.
well. somewhere
Yeah,
around
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. All over the world, multiple warehouse facilities. Our headquarters, we have one in Winnipeg. Milt and I are actually based down here in Forest Lake, so right up the road, and definitely growing at a pretty gnarly rate.
Yeah. And the follow up to that was 20 years ago. You know, you knew Milt then. How has Milt changed from then till today? What's the biggest change you think you've seen in
You know what? It's in so many ways you'd say like almost hasn't changed at all, or like we can laugh about the lap times and maybe still getting faster, or like try to fall like, and we talk about the moto side, but like try to go with him on a sled ride and try to keep up, and like his passion and his vision for just seeing things and darting and like cornering and stuff, but like so much of it actually hasn't changed, but so much of it was literally how did things change, because everything was changing so much every year as it all grew. And like just seeing, I don't know, it's almost like the things you would notice about changing was more about adapting to just like next year's problems and then next year's growth or next year's growth. And like, a lot of it is just trying to keep up to it. Right. Yeah. And like everyone's just pushing hard, and it's, it's like trying to get to the start of the race season, and like every week feels like the week before the start of the, and you're just trying to get this. But like for Milt, I don't think he's changed a whole lot. Mm-hmm. Like his kind of that thing that's just, I don't know, his drive or the whatever. And then like what's pushed the company, like the situation changes, is night and day change, in 20 years or even from one year to the next. But like a lot of that has kind of been the constant that stayed the same, I'd say.
Yeah, the influence that he's had on the company, you kind of mentioned it a minute ago. Do you see him, that influence kind of, as he's getting older, is it kind of spreading a little bit, or is he still just day-to-day operations, just on the grind?
Yeah, it's probably a lot less day-to-day. He's trying to focus a lot more, even as the business grows out beyond snow, even as moto's growing real big and we're pushing hard in fish and just, even other areas that we don't see so much, but like trying to do as much riding as he can, as he's still so healthy and fit, and trying to do that, trying to let the company, start to transition and be able to run itself a little bit better.
Yeah.
Go out and live the life. Like the guy's been wide open for so many years growing this business, and like he's actually still healthy enough to do all the stuff that you could do that you would have done all those years, and you're focused on the the business. We want to let him do a little bit more of that too, right?
Absolutely. That's
when
cool.
it comes to the design sides, though, he's full tilt.
Still.
Oh yeah, we've had meetings all week, going through some of the stuff that's to come, and it really, to Duncan's point, man, it spools him up. It is what he is the most passionate about, and he's not slowing down by any means. The design side, the specific products, the guy is full in.
So that was kind of going to be my follow-up question. My next question was, what makes FX, like when you guys are in your meetings and you're like, hey, we're FXR and this is like our footprint in the space, what makes internally, what are you guys saying this is why and how we're different than everyone else?
That's an interesting question to answer. And, like a lot of it stems from where regionally or like where it is that we're making our footprint and what that's all about, because you just, even just dividing, let's say Western snowmobile culture and mountain culture from the Midwest and the East, where FXR is just so huge, right? But like, it's like a combination of sort of the secret sauce of just, the way the gear looks and, and the logos and the graphics. And a lot of people really know FXR primarily, as a brand that like brings, almost like moto energy or bright energy and like, not afraid to stand out and all that kind of stuff. But like so much of it is just looking at the features, the specs, the fit, like the user experience, right? And like a lot of that doesn't get told or doesn't get talked about enough, is like because the gear is as flashy as it is, a lot of it, we do the blacks too and everything, but like when you think about it, you don't think of FXR as the, the black, the dull brand or whatever, but like, so we focus so hard, we spend a lot of time on graphic and colorways. We argue probably way too much, and like if there's like 20 things in the catalog, we probably looked at 150.
Yeah,
and just trying to figure out what to do. But like the fit and the function and all of that is something that we've driven so hard right from day one, just because whether it's the owner or just so many people within throughout and working with the riders, like we try to make sure that like you don't notice anything else because it actually all works so well. And it's like, yeah, you do just notice the graphics and you get to stand out. And whether, we argue a lot about like, let's say Duncan, his taste is like, hey, Duncan, how many logos do you want to have on your jacket, right? Or on your mono? Like, Duncan's like, well, maybe a few less. Give me some bright color or something, though, right? And you get other ones where it's like the logos from your knee to your shoulder, and some customers and people like, that's just a jam and we can do stuff. But like, we're never afraid to mess around with anything that's like change the logo, change the look, like kind of free to do is almost no holds barred with that stuff. It's kind of drives some of the people crazy because they're like, you just need one logo. You need to, for a brand, you should have one corporate logo. And we're just like, I don't know, man. Like we were trying to go back and say 30 years if we pulled up every version of a logo that we ever had, and Milt's like, don't show some of those. Like we came, but and at the time you thought it was so cool, and then you're looking back and you're like, yeah, maybe not so much, but it's just been part of it, right? Just never, don't be afraid to mess with any of it.
No, and I think honestly, to put a different spin on the question, I've been really good buddies in riding with Milt for the last 6 years. And Duncan and Zach and myself and a lot of the guys that came in have been talking about, but like the culture that FXR built and the family dynamic that stems off of Milt's crazy passion is pretty wild. I think if you guys look at like the Phil Nicolettis, the Mike Browns, and now with Malcolm Stewart and all this stuff that we're doing, Milt's looking at long-term family relationships in not only sponsorships, but the people that want to be in our gear, that want to be around us. When I was a kid, man, I knew all about FXR and I had nothing to do with it. I just so happened to start riding with the owner and founder one day, and now we're here. And Matt's been at it since way back. And I think that the culture that has been built and we're continuing to build on is ultimately what drives a lot of people to it too. If you look around at Heydays, it's pretty funny. We were going out to take off with Nate's Red Bull playing, and Milt's just scoping every little piece of hoodie and whatever. And he's like, wow, these people are really about it. And it's cool to see, right? So I think it's not only the technical side and all the stuff Matt drives, but also the family dynamic that they're building. And it's something you want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Hashtag FXR family.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
And Duncan's all about that style, so I don't think Duncan, do you guys work at all with, I know you just mentioned that you'll maybe call up the athletes and toss some ideas, but Duncan does he get any influence over there? Or?
Lately, I stepped into a bit of a different role 2 years ago, signing on as repping the kind of Northwest area territory, if you will, which is massive, but also helping Matt and Tori's come on now. And really, my interest in it is to drive the backcountry market and help FXR, who has made great gear for a long time, and it works in the mountains. But maybe we haven't really pinpointed a specific goal of what we want to do in the mountains. So I've been helping, which has been a lot of fun, design and develop new backcountry gear that we released a year ago, kind of revamped, and we have more coming down the pipe. And it's been really cool to work with the designers, work with Matt even more on that stuff to find out which fabrics do work better, which type of breathability or shell material and how that fits, which is the best way to go. So we're working on some really cool stuff right now, and we're kind of taking a new deep dive into backcountry segment, which is really exciting for me because it's where I want to be.
Yeah, and that's that was where I wanted to get to, was where is snow focused. Sounds like maybe a little bit more focused in the backcountry space, but maybe from the inside, as you guys look at the snow category going forward, what gets you guys the most excited?
You better take this one.
So with Duncan, like he was talking about, we've spent a lot of time looking at backcountry and some of the development and really notching some of that out. We have some amazing gear. Our crossover lineup is what Matt lives and breathes in himself, right? He rips. I don't know a guy that rides to work more than Matt himself. But we really wanted to kind of narrow in and start to look at these materials and look at where's your best mobility? What is your POW day, right? Where are kind of the fits and finishes that we want the most? Mm-hmm. And all I can say right now is we have some pretty dang cool stuff in the works. And
how far out are you guys? Like, what are you guys developing on right now?
It would be a combination of things that we'll see already next year, mm-hmm. and then a few things that are like probably need another season of testing and development for following, and it's always a bit of a balance of what we can do and bring out, early enough, or there's even, if you look in our catalog photos and some of the stuff at Duncan, if you wouldn't be able to zoom in close enough, but there's one or two things that's, probably been on the snow already that, you wouldn't quite see, but like just some of it has a longer testing cycle than others, depending on if it's fit and function oriented in something like a boot or a glove, where there's additional development than just what we're trying to dial in terms of the outerwear, where it's cut and sew things that you can work with far quicker and get results far faster.
Yeah, and this week we're locking in some of the 27 stuff already, mm-hmm. looking at 28, and then the big plan is the 2030 strategy, right? Wow. So we're thinking out as far as we can and trying to double down.
And all of this doesn't take away from that tried and true FXR brand that the people out here know and love.
Yeah.
Like, you want gear for cold weather? We got you covered. Are you kidding me? Like, we continue to develop that stuff in an insane way, in my eyes, just because I don't even wear that stuff. Because in the West, it would, like, I'd cook.
Yeah.
But if I ever wanted to go trail riding and do some mega miles, like, we have a plethora of gear that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That we've done for a long time. So, like, it's not changing it. I think we're just, like, taking another look at a segment that we just haven't been strong in.
Yeah.
And it's, like, to me, it's really cool because, like, it's new life, it's new direction, it's exciting. We're testing things, we're doing stuff, and Tori coming in and helping with the team and like, kind of building up our top tier athletes has also been a new development, which is pretty cool. But
yeah, and you got to cater to the younger generation, right?
Yeah, because they're here to stay and taken over by storm. I mean, did you watch Power Hour last night? We even had Mav in it, who's one of our newer athletes who I've known since he was 9 years old, throwing down. I mean, I think he needs to work on his videography skills a little bit. But other than that, the dude's wild.
Yeah.
And some fun stuff going down.
Hey guys and gals, if you love the show and want to support us, head on over to deviantinc.com. Use the code SledderCast, save some money on your next premium custom wrap. If you've spent any time on deviantinc.com, you already know it is the best, easiest custom wrap builder tool out there. With its new interactive design tools, makes designing and customizing wraps super slick. We're big fans of the new color mixer tool. It randomizes colors until you land on the perfect combo. A design mixer tool is a game changer when you already know what colors you want and you want to see all of our designs in just your pre-selected colors. So head on over to deviantinc.com, use the code SledderCast, save some money on your next wrap purchase. Let's get back to the show. I wanted to ask this question early on and I forgot, because we've been talking about snow, but FXR is in a bunch of different categories, right?
Yep.
What category would you say leads the way?
I think going back to,
snow, fish, what are all the categories?
Snow, fish, and moto. Those are three.
Snow, fish, and moto.
Three main categories. It's right from the get-go, we kind of talked about, it's like moto-driven, snow apparel, and just the whole concept of like FXR factory extreme racing, but factory racing, like the factory ride component of motocross, or even, the highest level snow, like that's what drove it all. But like, probably the moto side is, what really leads so much
leads
of it.
The category.
Leads
all of them.
We're starting to see so much recognition as we start to work with, like the Malcolm Stewart that you brought up, or like getting things out there on that, Supercross or AMA Pro Racing stage, or, or some of the things in Europe. And, we just won 2 titles in Canada again this year. But like, it seems like moto is that good energy connector for almost everything, because it's like, depending if it's, the snowmobile customer, but what are they doing in the summertime, or like, just seems like we have a lot of the marketing spill off for the whole brand comes from what you're seeing in that Supercross stage, just because it's so huge. And it's crazy because we've got this connection with Mookie to his fishing passion, and it's like all of a sudden it's turning into this thing where we're realizing so many places. I don't know. It's like the dots connect between, like I love to do this, but people are coming up to him at the races, giving him like fishing lures and stuff, and they're talking about fishing stories, and it's like it lines up. You don't have to be just, we segment out the divisions, and it's like, here's just snow, here's just moto, and it's like, actually no, it's like the same person, and they love to do it all. And so we just try to figure out like finding ways where that all lines up, where it's kind of a racing brand almost at our core, but it bleeds out in so many different ways, and even like, we're here at Heydays, we sponsor so much on the snowmobile racing side and snowcross side, and you don't realize, like, you want to talk about like how does that line up out west or whatever, right? But actually, how many people out there are like, they're supercross fans, they ride bikes. It's like some of that helps tie it all together and really helps bring it together. And whether it's like you're talking about insulated gear for trail riding or crossover riding, and that's where FXR is so big, but just all across, it's like almost like a bit of a common thread that brings it all together.
Yeah.
There's a cool exercise you can do when you walk into the office at FXR.
Okay. An exercise?
Yeah,
okay.
We'll do it right now.
Okay.
So raise your hand if you ride snowmobiles. Okay. Raise your hand if you race dirt bikes. Raise your hand if you're into outdoor sports and fishing. So you do that at the office, and it's pretty much everybody.
Most everyone's
all
just
the
their
time.
hands are stayed up. Yeah.
Yeah, you just put them up.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool thing because, most people
everyone there is living it.
Yeah, they're doing it.
Well, it's cool. Like, we work with people like Duncan and like all over the place, for samples and development. But like, there's so many people in the staff that are either doing it all or doing parts of it that, like, the protos come up, people start trying it on and they immediately understand. Almost you can tell when maybe the fit's off or something isn't going to work before you even have to like ship it out to someone, get them to go ride it. It's like, okay, we're still going to do that, but we already know what if it's going to be good or bad, like, whether it's the sizing or just, trying some of the different things, the materials and things. Like, you get such a good idea, and it just helps so much when you have so many people on the team that are like, their heart's in it, their head's in it as part of their passion, and that's part of what's, been the secret sauce over the years of like helping it get there, is being able to expedite some of that stuff. Sometimes you can take a 2-year development and push it into one just because you're able to move things ahead quickly. Yeah. Not always, things need seat time and hours and testing and, but in some cases you can really speed things up just because everyone's into it so much.
And the truth of the matter is, Milt's not going to let you leave for a trip without putting some prototypes in your bag. He pushed on me pretty heavy last year when I headed out west. I brought ACMT, I brought our Ridge Pro setup, the Tri-Lem, and he's like, you're going to ride it in every condition. He's like, you're bringing 2 gear bags if you need to. And it was pretty cool. I did get to see our ACMT is kind of a dual lens concept, right? So in a motocross goggle, you fog up. If you have 2 lenses, the air gap between it allows that perspiration to go away. No different with us in the mountain sledding industry, right? Like for us, our ACMT, it basically separates that. And he made me wear one with and without and go into some of the deep and the wet, nasty stuff. And it was pretty cool to see it live. So just with his passion, he's going to stop you and say, no, go try this on quick. Yeah. And to be fair, I'm probably twice his size. So it's pretty good to get a different size reference than he has.
Absolutely. I'm ready for a fire round here.
Woo, woo.
That's what I like. I like to put you guys on the hot seat here.
Getting hot.
All right.
You guys ready for it? We'll see if we can take it easy on you, though. But favorite FXR piece you've ever helped create?
No, this is you first, buddy. You got to think.
You have a smaller range to choose.
No, that's true. He's got to think. Matt's got to think about it.
Give him some time.
This is true. No, I think honestly, just working with Duncan and the guys as we start to refine some of the new products. The Ridge Pro was something that was coming out right as I came in, and then now we have the Vertical MTX and a couple other things in the works. It's a new spin on things, so it's much more mobility, lighter weight, and tough in the right areas. And it's just really cool to see it start to roll out here, obviously this week, and then we'll see a lot more of it in the mountains this year. So pretty stoked on it, and honestly, it's just fun to watch these guys work.
Cool.
All right, I appreciate the second to go through here, but I'll go back to like year 1 or 2 Duncan relationship, the Mission gear. So Mission was like, that was our first real stab at getting like more technical backcountry, but we were not afraid to F around with like color combos. I want to say if you open the catalog page, it was like, I don't know, 12 or 14 colorways. And like one was a dark one and the rest were like, it all just stood out. And we had like the matching bright pants and everything to go with it. And like, you still see some of those guys, you know, at different Western events and things walking around. You're like, oh, that's that stuff. Like, it was kind of like the start of a phase we went into when it was like steering away from, you know, a little bit more traditional, I don't know, just crossover and trail looking gear to something that was like, no, we're gonna make a different play. We want it to have a different look, and it wasn't based on anything else we saw. It was like, we're gonna do it with our own flavor, and we're gonna do it to stand out, you know. And that was kind of like, I feel like the start of really where it all went from and progressed. So yeah, that's my pitch.
Awesome.
Do we get to push that to Duncan too?
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah. Well, right now it's the Ridge Pro jacket because it's just a perfect backcountry piece. It's a shell only, but super durable. And yeah, like I pushed real hard to get this thing out. And they did it, and I was like, "What?"
That a boy. Duncan's got some polls.
I'm pumped on that. And then next year, or maybe the year after, depending on how it falls, I'll have a different answer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I can.
Oh,
say.
that's what you were telling me about last night. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
You didn't tell me anything.
I don't think so.
Duncan's like been sworn to secrecy here. Yeah, I don't know.
I just know we're working on some cool stuff, and I'm pretty fired up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what's
we got
one?
some things to work out, though.
Oh, sorry about that.
No,
Okay,
you're
go.
good. You're good.
What's one thing customers complain about that drive you guys nuts? Is there like a common thing that you just drives you nuts?
I don't know if I would say so much as a complaint, and it falls on us just in terms of how we steer people into the right stuff. But we have the product line's so big, and getting people into the right thing. You know, we get people come back sometimes, and it's like, you know what, this didn't either didn't stay warm enough, or didn't stay dry enough, or something, or like I didn't like. Why did you make that way? And it's like, well, what type of riding? Where are you from? How are you riding? And it's like, oh, okay, like you probably bought this either at a dealer or from our website or wherever. Maybe that's all you saw, or that's what they had. But like, you know, let's go show you maybe what you would have had a better day in or a better winter or something, and let's help you out and let's figure out. But that's probably the biggest one we see, you know, more often than not, is just sometimes it's a little tricky finding your way through our catalog just because it is so big and there's like so many different types of gear that are in there for everything from across the pond over in Scandinavia to Eastern Canada, you know, all the way out to the West Coast, right? Like, you guys know all about that.
Awesome.
I think so far from my side, it's honestly just when people ask why you didn't have the exact same color the next year.
Oh,
why couldn't I get that this year? Well, you should have bought it last year, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got to keep changing stuff up. We try to keep it within the family, but Matt, Milt, and Duncan and those guys, they do a great job at challenging the colorways each year. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of the point now, honestly, if you don't get it the same year,
you got to put
it's
some
going to have a
urgency
new
in
vein.
there, right?
Yeah. A little bit of the Supreme model. Get it now before it's gone.
Yep.
Well, and I think everyone's gotten used to a few years of, you know, either the sleds or the gear or everything kind of being the same as last year, as we're all working through, you know, COVID hangover or whatever you want to call it with inventory. And we've had some bad snow years and all that, but like we're starting to really see things turn around to where it'll start coming into a more of a cadence and being able to like fire away on new designs and colors and styles regularly, right? And just really push that again, you know, and it's a position we're really happy to be in, just because we can we don't have to hold back anymore, you know, and we can really just push, and whether that's, you know, new graphics and colors or just new tech too, right? The whole deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Not sure if you're going to answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. If you didn't wear FXR, what would you wear?
Birthday suit.
Birthday suit. That's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a good answer.
Honestly, I don't even know how I'd answer, because it's been so many years.
Like you haven't even you don't even have any experience in anything else, probably.
Hardly. I mean, we try on almost everything, like snowside, moto, whatever. Like you got to know what's out there and how it fits, how it compares, or you hear comments from people. But like, Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I give you an answer. Sorry.
Yeah. Honestly, from my side, I've gotten to ride into everything. Being in R&D for Polaris for 5-6 years,
Yeah.
I've kind of rode in a little bit of everything. And to be honest, it's the flavor for me, like the style of what they're bringing in the colors. I cleared out my gear bag when I started, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And I was happy to do it. And Milt used to joke around all the time. Like I said, I've been buddies with him for many years now. And he'd joke around all the time because we'd have timber sled picks and some dumb stuff and FXR gear that when we had other free stuff with us. So I've been riding with it for a long time. And the more that we put into it, like, it's so funny going back with Matt and seeing him and Milt busted out the leather jackets when we were in the Canada office and came down in them. And it's cool to see it over the years. For me with Polaris, like, I'm going to always have a favorite bike because we were a part of it. Fun fact, Duncan's going to be a big fan of Ridge Pro for a long time to come, right? Yeah. So it's just cool. As it continues to grow, I think that I don't know what else we'd end up in.
Yeah.
Well, it's a weird deal because they're all competitors, right? And so you're kind of looking at it, and when like people come out with like cool stuff, cool color combos, whatever, all the time, but like you're also dealing with someone where you're like, oh, they're on the other side of the fence. But like, I think I would go back to some of the leaders from previous, right? If you talk about AXO gear or shift gear and things,
No
in
fear.
moto, or like
LBZ.
yeah, right. Like,
Don't lose the no
like,
fear.
I'd be one of those guys that's like walking around with like, you know, whatever, an old Cold Wave or an old like Blair Morgan replica or something.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, I'll go back to that. You know, if I can't wear FXR, I'll just go back to something cool, old retro or something.
Yeah.
A political answer.
Yep. Okay. Well, we kind of started with Milt. Why don't we end with Milt? What's been your, as you look back through your time there at FXR, what's been your most memorable moment, single moment that you've had with Milt?
This is, I don't know how long ago it was, but we were meant to go on a trip to down to Jackson and actually down like Afton Alpine area or whatever. And we were meant to fly to Bozeman. And we ended up getting to the airport a little bit too late. And the lady at the front gate wouldn't let us go in and whatever. And we're like, oh, like we're supposed to go trip to the mountains, whatever. This is probably the first time he and I would have ever been out there together. And we're kind of, okay, we're looking at the itinerary. And we're going to land, 5 or 6 o'clock. It's like, that's like a 17-hour drive. And we're like, that's only like 3 hours longer if we just get in the truck and leave right now. So we didn't tell anyone. They found out soon enough. Then we just like, well, okay, we'll just get in the truck. We had our riding gear and drove from Winnipeg to Bozeman and then south from there or whatever. But like, that was pretty cool just because you get that road time and like, you get to catch up and whatever and just being, there's too many to list of other experiences and some stuff you probably never want me to say about like fun at trade shows or just anytime you're out riding and doing stuff. And like Milt's all about the experience, and we just, when it's time to be serious, we're all serious, but like he knows how to have fun, just as good as anyone else or better. But like, anyway, missing a flight, still driving out to do the ride anyway.
Love it. All right, guys and gals, Trail is one of our newest program supporters here at the Sledder Cast podcast. You can find them at trail.com. They are coming in hot with all of the goodies, all the backcountry essentials. A few of our favorite must-haves are the Grizzly folding saw with razor sharp teeth that plow through those pesky branches with ease. Also the lightweight ski pole strap, a real back saver when your buddy needs that 7th pull of the day. And of course, the Trail Hot Pot exhaust cooker, because hot meals are way better than cold meals in the backcountry. So head on over to trail.com, that's TREYL.com, grab your exclusive Sleddercast promo code in the description below. Let's get back to the show.
And I think from my end, my good buddy is one of our lead moto designers from even back when I was in my Polaris days. And he texted me one day when he was up in our neck of the woods and was like, hey, I brought the Supermoto, let's come out and ride. And he gave me this random address and was like, meet me here. Turns out it was Milt's house. Didn't know nothing about it. And I knew of Milt, but we hadn't been kicking it at that point, right? We ride the same tracks and whatever, but I didn't know much of it. And I didn't bring the nicest street bike in the world. She was a mean one. And because I thought we were going out to wheelie and do burnouts and dumb stuff. And so we pull out of Milt's area and we go back on this fall ride. And I kind of look at Dan and I'm like, So are we good or are we not? So throw a wheel in the air, go past Milt. Before I get by him, his is up, and we're just running wheelies down the middle of the highway. The funniest part about all of it is I run a rolling burnout. Milt passes me as I'm doing it with a thumbs up, like just happy as can be. And so it's kind of funny because that's how it all started. And
that was your interview right there.
Literally, yeah. I had a 6-year interview. But no, it's funny because that's how it all started, and we still do the fall rip every year because we joke about how funny that was. And so, like I said, he's just a passionate dude that we all vibe on the same sense with. And the office check is real. He's still doing it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
That's great.
Well, Duncan, do you have a memory or not a memory, but a favorite moment, right?
I do actually. We were up in Revelstoke shooting the next year's gear at a team photo shoot, and Matt and Milt had come out, which I thought was really cool. It's like, oh, the owner's coming out for this. That's awesome. The director of Snow's going to be there. And I had talked with Matt a whole lot more than I had talked with Milt at that point. And I don't forget how many years ago this was, like at least 5-ish or so. And I've been with them for 10 years now. And Brock Hoyer, our other lead snow ambassador athlete, who's just a boss on a bike. Talked about him with the Yeti guys earlier. He takes these guys. They're all on bikes. He got bikes for him to ride. We're off shooting sled and working. And he's like, Matt, Milt, psst, psst, come with me. We'll go for like a half-hour little ride. 4 hours later or so, we get word on the radio. They're like, yeah, we're good. We made it up and around. And Brock took them on a rowdy, tree, steep, backdoor entrance up to some terrain up there in Revy. And it was the coolest thing to see was Matt and Milt come out of it just whooped. And I was like, they just went on like what a full day of riding really is. And they're just like, they're like high-fiving and can barely hold their hands up and just destroy. I was like, yes, this is so epic. And they were pumped. And we still talked. We just talked about it yesterday a little bit. And it was just really cool to see them do that. And I think that was the moment I'm like, these guys they're real riders, right? Like, yeah, I know they ride dirt bikes, but we had never really ridden much together. And I was like, that's cool. Yeah. Like you can come and serve them up like that, and they'll swing for the fences and hang with you. And like that was a really cool moment. So, yeah,
second that definitely.
Yeah, right.
That was your second favorite, most memorable moment. With
maybe second favorite. Right? Like, yeah, I think it was like going up the backside of Boulder up into I don't even know where he took us, but like there was times when we would literally be sitting there. He's like, I'm gonna go make a trail up into this place you can follow. And he would disappear for like 10 minutes at a time, and all you heard is a poor snow bike just sitting on the rev limiter, like second gear and he's just going up and down. He's like, okay, we're good. You're going to have to go here. You have to hold it wide open here, and I think we'll be all right. And we're just like, what do we get into, right? But like, sure enough, it worked out. And I mean, on snow bikes, like you just, whatever, you can side hill and get up stuff like so much easier. And we just, whatever we did, yeah, it took how many hours, and we finally got somewhere where we seen a snowmobile track, and we're like, oh, at least we're somewhere where like someone has been, right? And just keep going, but just go on those adventures, right? That's the best part.
That's great. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on here. It's always nice to get to know more about brands, right? So it's like we're right next to one of your competitors in Southeast Idaho. So it's kind of like all we see right there, but like on social media, that broadens more and you see more of, different brands out there. And so, yeah, it was great conversation. We've done some stuff in the past with FXR and Sledder Box, and hopefully we can do some more cool stuff in the future with you guys, and excited to see what you guys got cranking on, what you got coming out.
Good stuff.
All right. Cool. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.
See you later.